Alright, there are some pictures doing the rounds of Conor Benn, and Conor Benn has always been a fighter who's always been in, good shape. I've never seen Conor Benn remotely out of shape once. In the run up to this fight with Chris Eubank Jr., you got to bear in mind, Conor Benn. It's it's a weird. It's kind of weird to say he's a welterweight when you consider the fact that April of 2022 was the last time he fought at that respective weight. It's a long time. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if you've not fought at your respective weight for any longer than, we'll say, maybe a year or two, you're really not in that weight anymore. But for all intents and purposes, he's talking about campaigning at welterweight, win or lose this fight with Conor Benn. Even when, I think it was on Morgan's interview, when they talked about the possibility of a Canelo fight awaiting the winner, Conor Benn even alluded to the fact that, look, that sounds nice on paper, but like, that's a super middleweight. I'm not even a middleweight. I'm really a welterweight. He even spoke about needing, and I mean, I think this kind of shows kind of where they're at with regards Benn's size and punching power. Conor Benn says, he'll knock Chris Eubank Jr. out easy, this, that, and the other. After his last fight against Peter Dobson, he was saying, I need to get back down to welterweight. I want those 8-ounce gloves. Alluding to the fact that even at 154, in those 10-ounce gloves, he just doesn't have the power to put a dent in any of these guys. And I think that was every bit apparent, I remember Eddie Hearn, when he was being interviewed by Proper Boxing, he said something like, oh, Conor Benn, how it makes you so sure he's going to knock out Chris Eubank? Oh, he will. His power will be there at middleweight. Well, why didn't he knock out the last two guys? Because they're both middleweight. Yeah. So the power probably might not come up. And, Conor Benn, is he the most devastating puncher even at 147 pound? Jury's still out. But looking at the most recent picture, which you'll see there on screen, what do you know is he looks massive. Now, I will say, there are people, and I've seen this for years and years, not even in boxing. I mean, it does happen in boxing. You see it with the heavyweights like Andy Ruiz. I mean, they make some of those girls on Tinder absolutely green with envy at how good they're able to catfish. Because Andy Ruiz came, on Tinder pics looking like that, and then ended up coming into the ring like that. You've seen other people, and they stand in such a way. I remember, just not going into too much detail, but I remember years ago, you used to see guys, and you used to swear if you got a pin. I'm not talking about boxers, people in general with pictures. If you got a pin and poked them, they'd go flying up into the air. That's how much they were sucking in, trying to, portray themselves as being bigger than they are. They'd be literally, you'd be just thinking, someone get a little pin, I want to see this guy take flight. That's what you'd be like with some of them. But with Conor Benn, it actually does, to me, look like, he's looking in particularly good shape. He is looking like he's packed on a good bit of muscle. And it looks like he's going to come into this fight at a decent size. Was it Nigel Benn or Eddie Hearn was someone who said that Conor Benn, realistically, he is weighing in well over the 170 pound mark for his respective fights, even if it's at 154 or welterweight. So he's not a small welterweight, or pretty decent size 154 pounder, reasonable size 154 pounder anyway. But you gotta bear in mind he's come up through the weights. So Chris Eubank Jr., he's been at 160, made a little kind of recurring team in 168, then came back down to middleweight. So you would imagine Eubank would be the naturally bigger guy. And with Conor Benn, I get a lot of the extra weight he seems to have put on in this is, of course, muscle weight. Now, Conor Benn, I've said this about him going into this fight several times, he's biting on everything Chris Eubank Jr. gives him. He really is. Conor Benn is very much like his dad. Very much an emotional type character. Nigel was a bit like that. The problem with that is you can burn up a lot of emotional energy before you're even getting to the ring. If you're overthinking things, if you're letting the emotions get to you, you're burning up so much energy before you've even gotten the ring. You compound that with maybe the way Conor Benn might fight a bit reckless, he's throwing a lot of shots, he's moving. Sometimes I feel like Conor Benn can move unnecessarily too much early on, and that can burn energy. And finally, you compound that with packing on extra muscle. We might see a very fast start in Conor Benn, who slows, I'm not just talking about slows down, incrementally, I'm talking rapidly in this fight if he's actually put on too much weight. Because you got to bear in mind, he's going to have to make 160 pounds as well. The rehydration clause isn't just there for Chris Eubank Jr., it's there for both of them. And if Conor Benn has ended up, packing on a little bit too much extra muscle in the gym, because fighters who've done that in the past, and again, I'm using heavyweights as an example, Deontay Wilder, in terms of body types, Conor Benn has always been a very kind of, He's not been like Deontay Wilder. He's not been like a string bean like Deontay Wilder. But he was never the most muscly. He was never the most thickly set type of guy. He has started to put that on over the years, but in this picture, as I said, he looks fairly thickly set in it. And I just wonder, going into a fight, how would that benefit him? Would that actually be a hindrance to him in a fight? Because at the end of the day, you would imagine Eubank is going to be the stronger guy. He's used to having big guys like George Groves, James DeGale. I'm just trying to think of some of the other guys he's fighting. Even Arthur Abraham back in the day. He's used to having much bigger guys, especially George Groves, put it on him, and he's having to, get in a clinch with them. Now he's got a guy from 147 pounds coming up, and yeah, he's going to pack on all that muscle, but Eubank is going to be the naturally stronger anyway. So this whole kind of, pack on weight, I don't know how that's going to work for Conor Benn, because again, at the end of the day, he's going to be relying on speed, and all that muscle mass is going to slow him down a bit. So if he's looking to come out there and utilise his speed, it might not be there early on. And if he does try and force it, he might actually find himself fatiguing pretty early on. But he does look in phenomenal shape, it has to be said. I know some people are saying, and I remember, I think BDA's channel, I uploaded that picture, and the first comment was like, mystery as to why the price of eggs has gone through the roof. Mystery now explained, or words to that effect, which I did have to laugh at. And of course, seeing Conor Benn in that, you will have people inevitably asking questions of what may be going on. Is he back eating those eggs again? I don't know. All I'll say is he looks in phenomenal shape, and I think that coming up to this fight, it's getting a little bit more exciting, a little bit more entertaining now. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Conor Benn looking in phenomenal shape. Leave it down below. I hope you enjoyed the video, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe as always if you could. I'd really appreciate it. Really help me out. And quickly, just before I go, right? Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr. What is that going to be on in the UK? It's going to be on The Zone. What date is today? What time recording this? It's April 1st. And no fool, look on screen. The Zone are running a flash sale. People, 30% off The Zone annual membership, whether it's upfront or monthly, until April the 7th in the US and in the UK. Frank Warren, Oscar De La Hoya, Eddie Hearn, GBM, amongst other shows. You've got Boots Ennis, you've got Ben Eubank, you've got The Weeknd's fight this weekend, you've got Josh Taylor, you've got Kakache Wood. That's not even scraping the surface. The link will be in the description below. I cannot emphasize enough, The Zone is the global home of world boxing. Believe that. Link in the description.